Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious podcast. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously.
Oh, yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. And on today's podcast, let me tell you, I got my nipple tassels on, and my butthole is clenched, and I'm ready to fuck shit up. Oh, yeah. Today's podcast is about why the people who know you don't support you and how to get the fuck over it. Because let me tell you, I am 42 years old and I feel like never in my life have the people that should support me, that should be my cheerleaders, that should be the ones that are like hyping me up, have ever done that for me in my life. And these fucking strangers that you don't even know exist are the ones that are your biggest hype girls. It's crazy. I would love to hear your stories after you listen to this podcast, because I know that I am not the only one that has gone through this. But you got to pay the troll toll, okay? You got to share the show and don't be a hoe, okay? So the only thing that I ask for here is two things. One, share the show out. That's the only compensation that I ask for. And two, if you have not already joined the 7 days of the free Ambitchious app, what the hell are you waiting for? Stop this podcast right now. Scroll down to the show notes and get your 7-day free trial of the app, because I promise you, once you get on there and you actually see the real deal shit that's going on over there, you are going to be hooked. You are going to feel like you are surrounded by the best hype girls in the world, and you're finally going to find your community, as we call it in the app, the Bitchterhood. So get on over there, join that 7-day free trial. Don't worry about it. There's no catches. I'm not going to take your credit card and start charging you like some fucking asshole. Okay, I've heard that people do this. I think it's insane. I want to make sure that you are actually there to contribute and not contaminate. I want to make sure that you love it before you buy it, because if you don't, you're not going to bring good juju over to the Ambitchious app, and we take our good ass vibes over there real motherfucking serious. Okay, so if you're not about healing and you don't want to get better, why the fuck are you even listening to this podcast? Just go crawl back under the rock in which you came from and just be a mediocre bitch. Okay? Just be a mediocre bitch. Or keep listening and then join the 7-day free trial of the app, and also share this on your social media. The more women that we get to join this Ambitchious movement, the more that the world is going to change. So if you're not happy with the world and you're like, oh, the world is so fucked up, well, you're not doing a very good job helping it change. Okay. I wake up every motherfucking day and I make sure that I am doing the most. And if you also stepped up like that too, the world would shift. Okay. Everybody wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves. You're picking up what I'm putting down. Okay. So let's get into this podcast. This is such a hard podcast to do, because I know that everyone's like, oh my God, Katie, I know this is what's going to happen. People are like, oh my God, were you talking about me? I always support you. No, I'm not fucking talking about you. I'm not talking about anyone specifically. But I've noticed that there has been this epidemic, if you will, of people just being jealous whores and not supporting other women. Like all these women that I meet, they're like, I support women. I support women. No, you fucking don't. Because you actually want to wear my skin like last year's Versace, and you actually truly hope that I fail and fall flat on my face, and that my husband leaves me and I end up, a broke hoe and I lose everything. And that is just human nature. But I'm here to tell you that there's laws of the universe. And when you're like me and you get up every day and you show up and you give value and service, you can't fucking fail. Yeah, you're going to have some not so fresh days. There's going to be days like I have where I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I don't even need to do this. This is such a waste of my time. Are people even listening to this podcast? Even though I do get my numbers and I know that there's shit tons of people listening to this podcast, it still feels futile sometimes. But guess what? That's normal. If you feel happy and you're feeling like everyone supports you every day of the week, then you probably have a mental illness. Just saying. Okay. So this podcast is kind of a rant / some stories of things that I've gone through, and then just like how to get the fuck over it. Because if you desire deeply to live an ambitious life and you desire deeply to go to the next level and be the HBIC, number one, you got to stop caring about who is supporting you, who's in your corner, who's your cheerleader. Because I'm telling you right now, if you live like that, you're going to be the most disappointed hoe on the motherfucking planet. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Okay. All right. So get your rubber underwear on, fasten your merkins, and let's get to it. All right. So why don't people support you that know you? And why do these total motherfucking strangers are the ones that like all your shit on Instagram, share out your things, show up to your events, whatever? Why? Well, the first reason is because you and that person or group of people that you're not feeling supported by came from the same place as they did. So that's number one. You got that working against you. Those people came from the exact same place that you did, and they're still doing the same motherfucking shit that they've been doing since 8th grade. And you've evolved, you've leveled up, you're actually trying to be an amazing part of society. You're trying to shift the world. You're trying to be a light worker. You're trying to, spread goodness. And they're still doing the same shit as they were doing 20 plus years ago. And put yourself in their shoes. Don't you think that would bother you if you were also acting like that person? Think of if you woke up every day and you had the same haircut as 8th grade and you were still, eating mac and cheese from a cup in the microwave for your lunch, even though you're 40 something years old, and you married your high school sweetheart and you got 2 raggedy looking kids and your life is really fucking boring and you're not really doing much. And even though I believe that motherhood is the hardest job in the world and it's the most thankless job in the world, I really feel like so many of the people that don't support you, and I'm speaking from my own personal, corner, they don't support you because they look at your life and like, oh, isn't that nice? You get to do all these things. Yeah, but I chose this life because life doesn't happen to you. You choose it. And they were brainwashed by the Matrix, and even maybe they didn't even want children, or they didn't want to get married, or maybe they wanted to, go abroad and study, or, travel, or do something super outside the box. But they were so brainwashed by the Matrix and so brainwashed by three-dimensional society that they just fell in line and they were like, must fuck my high school boyfriend and have 2.3 children and get a little boring job and just do that and shit, eat, pee, piss, fuck, and sleep until I die. Like, ew. Now, again, if you're like, I am so happy with my life, I love my life, it's simple, I just do it, that's wonderful. But you have to ask yourself, is there jealousy and envy and admiration and avarice and hatred in your heart for the people who are living the lives that you desire to live and maybe gave up for whatever reason? Or maybe you were just really afraid and you were like, I could never do that, right? And maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're just like me and you're the one that's not being supported. So think about it. You and those people came from maybe not the same exact place or town, but the same level, right? You started on the same playing field and you leveled up and you're living the life of your dreams, and these people aren't. And they're pretending and they're waking up every day and it's like Groundhog Day. Time to make the donuts, time to make the donuts. I mean, you would probably not support you either. And I had to really take a step back and think about that because I'm a really loving, kind person and I'm a people person. And I show up every day to help society level up, especially women. That's my number one focus. And it's difficult. It's exhausting. It's a lot of work. And I think that people also don't see the behind the scenes of like what you actually have to do to make these things happen, you know? So first of all, people don't support you because they've come from the same playing field as you. They've come from the same place, and you did something with your life that was worthwhile and they didn't. You cannot expect them to support you. You just can't, you know? And remember, I came from a background of pageantry and television and, you know, an amazing career and writing a book and speaking engagements and coaching and, you know, in my own way, some fame, you know, having a television show and being the number one coach and all these things. Like, you do get gravitas. You know, I get paid a lot of money to speak. I understand, like, it's not easy to watch people like me come from the same place. And maybe I actually was beneath you. Maybe I didn't have like the background that you had. Maybe you actually had more than me and I still did more than you. They're not going to support you. They're just not. So that's number one. Let's just get that out of the fucking way. This is why people don't support you. And then if you want to destroy your future, okay? If you want to destroy your future, then allow these people and these ideas to just insidiously make you feel so bad that you start coming back down to their level for whatever reason, for validation, for company and companionship, and because you're lonely. I have seen so many clients over the years who are amazing, that could literally be multimillionaires, change the world, be jet setters, live the life of their dreams. And because they are more afraid of success than they are of failure, because they'll say to themselves, they'll get right to that precipice and they're right about to take off and they're right about to launch. And then they think about all these people from their hometown and all these people that they went to high school with and all these people that they went to college with or people they work with, or maybe their family didn't make it out. Because they chose that, by the way, and they fucking self-sabotage every time. I see it time and time and time again. And they self-sabotage because their need to be loved and accepted by those people is way stronger than their need and their desire to dominate and be amazing. That's why I was saying the other day to the girls on my app, we were having one of my morning coaching sessions. And I was like, you know, if you're just like a little aggressive and you're just like a little bit domineering and you actually have something going for you, it's so easy to be rich. It's so easy to be great. It's so easy to have the life of your dreams because most people in the world are self-sabotaging, fearful, success, not like averse motherfuckers. And so sad to watch because God gave them all these talents and all these passions and all of these incredible gifts. And they literally slap their creator and the universe in the face because they don't want their mommy to be like, oh, don't forget where you came from. If you ever hear the words, I don't care if it's from your cousin, your mother, your best friend, your teacher, whatever. If someone says to you, don't forget where you came from, you need to never, ever speak to that person again because that is Satan. That is the devil with a skin mask over its face. And come at me and tell me that I'm not spitting fucking truth right now. Don't worry, I won't forget where I came from. I came from there. I can't forget. It's etched into my motherfucking brain, okay? So think about what I just said. Is your drive for your ultimate ambitious life loftier and stronger than your fear of people not loving you anymore if you're more successful than them or you've done more than them or you're wealthier than them or whatever? Like, that's a huge, huge, huge problem. And the other thing is too, is these people who don't support you, they will actually throw stones and rocks and sticks and boulders and tree trunks and all kinds of garbage in your path to fuck up your next step. So do not tell the small-minded people who do not support you, your big dreams, goals, and aspirations, keep that motherfucking shit to yourself. Don't you dare tell anyone what you're doing until you have motherfucking accomplished it. Because as soon as you start telling your big dreams, goals, and aspirations to small-minded motherfucking people, the jealousy and the evil eye and the seething energy will just start to bubble up in them. And I know this sounds so evil, but it is in a way. So we have to start looking at the world with different colored lenses. I used to be from the school of like, everyone loves me and everyone's nice. No, they don't. People that actually show up in a wolf in sheep's clothing will act like they're your biggest supporter to your face, and behind your back they'll be like, who does she think she is? She thinks she's better than us now because she's like big time. You know how many people have said this kind of shit about me? Yes, for all of you out there listening to the Ambitchious podcast that are just here to spy on my life, I am better than you. You want to know why I'm better than you? Because every morning I wake up with a pure heart. I give value and service without asking for anything in return. That is my purpose and that is my mission in life. All I am here for on this earth is to help people go to the next level. And all you do all day is touch your pussy with your orange Cheeto fingers after you've been chowing all day, and your clit gets a little hot because they're hot Cheetos, so your pussy goes on fire a little bit, and all you are is a motherfucking keyboard warrior talking shit about the actual people who are trying to make a difference in this world. So shut the actual fuck up. So stop telling people your big dreams, goals, and aspirations, because I promise you, you're going to have people around you that as soon as you tell them your big ideas, they're going to start throwing the evil eye at you. And I know that I always say, like, you can't get cursed and you can't get the evil eye if you don't believe in it, which I do believe is true. But I also think that collective energy is also very real. So if you go, let's say you go on Instagram and you're like, hey guys, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, and people are like, oh yeah, okay. Or, hey guys, I'm going to start this business. It's like, yeah, sure, right? And then everyone starts kibitzing about you and everybody starts talking shit about you. And then all of a sudden, your shit fails because all of that negative energy has been placed in your auric field. And maybe, unless you're an ambitious woman and you know how to protect yourself by cloaking and cord cutting and calling in your power posse to come in and protect you, you're probably leaving yourself open energetically for all of the parasites to suck you dry and all of the energy vampires to suck you dry. So why don't people support you? That's why, because they're fucking afraid of your power. So stop telling people all your big hopes, dreams, and aspirations because they're going to put their foot out and trip you. That's just bottom fucking line. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about, I think is so important is, I don't care what you think about him. I don't give a fuck. Steve Harvey. I know he gets a bad rap sometimes, but there's one thing that he said, and I don't know if it was in his book or a podcast or a YouTube video or whatever. It doesn't matter. But he once told this story about people who are success-minded and success-driven. Think about them pulling a wagon. Okay. So they're almost like the horse pulling the wagon. So they got, their little straps on, their little bridle in their mouth, right? And they're pulling this wagon up a hill. And on that wagon is all the people in your life. They're your family, they're your significant other, they're your children, they're your friends, they're your colleagues, they're your coworkers. They can be like close acquaintances, people in certain circles. Maybe you belong to certain clubs or you have certain hobbies, just anyone that's in your life. Now, all those people are on your wagon, but you have to make sure that everyone that you're pulling on that wagon is helping you in some way, shape, or form. So maybe, your husband might get off the wagon every so often. He may move some debris out of your path. And then your kid is maybe kind of like pushing behind the wagon a little bit. And then maybe your colleague, the wagon wheel breaks and they know how to fix it. Everyone is helping this wagon move. But what happens is to the wagon is you get these sly motherfuckers that somehow infiltrate. And then all of a sudden, they're on the wagon, their legs are up, their feet across, their arms across, and they're smoking a fucking blunt. Okay? They ain't helping you do shit. So you need to make a list of all the people in your life that are near and dear to you, that are in your periphery. And you got to say to yourself, is this person on the wagon smoking the blunt with its feet up and its fucking arms crossed, or are they doing a little bit to help? And the people that are sitting on the wagon, they're not doing shit, you need to motherfucking excommunicate them from your life, because those are the most dangerous people and they will pull you down. They will never support you. They will never help you, and they will just diminish and weaken your life force energy. And I'm telling you right now, the people that I coach, and I have coached for the last 20 plus years, that never make it to the next level, that never live their dreams, have a bunch of people on their wagon sitting smoking the fucking blunt with their arms and feet crossed. So you need to take a real clear-cut consensus of who's helping on the wagon and who is sitting on the wagon. Do you catch my drift? Okay? If people that are around you say words like, you need to calm down. You're working too hard. You need to slow down. You know, the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's not just about money. It's not just about success. It's not just about goals, you know? Eat that piece of cake. Don't work out today. Take a day off. Oh, who cares about getting back to that person who wants to pay you tens of thousands of dollars to do work with? You worry about that on Monday, right? Or you hear these people go, like I've had people come into my house who are never, ever invited back. They'll come in my house and go, oh my God, wow, must be nice. I'm like, note to self, put that in your back pocket, Katie motherfucking Boyd. This motherfucker will never step in your house for the rest of their lives. And they never do. And they always say to me, oh, we should really hang out. And I'm like, or I just don't ever talk to them again. Just depends on what kind of relationship we have. But if they say things like that, adios, amigo. Adios. Gotta go. Or if you have a business or you're a service provider and people come to you for freebies and discounts and they use you and then they ask you for all this advice and they never, ever, ever thank you publicly or thank you even personally. They never post about you. They never hype you up. Bye. That's a red flag. You know how many people I help for free on a daily basis because I'm a good person and they never even thank me? I stopped doing that a long time ago. Like if people DM me on Instagram and they're like, oh my God, I want to work with you. I'll say, yeah, get on a discovery call with me. We'll talk. We'll see if it's a good fit. If you work in a one-on-one container with me, or if you're just going to do the app, or maybe you're going to come to an event, or maybe you're going to go on a retreat with me, or maybe you need a healing session, or maybe you need a full day immersion, or you need business coaching or whatever. But I don't just give free shit to people anymore. I do it through my podcast, and I do it because, you know, if I'm feeling really driven that day and I want to just do some stuff in my email or on my blog or on my website or maybe on my social media. But other than that, I don't do it. Like I am not someone that you can just DM and rape their brain and ask them 3,000 questions. Like I used to do that when I was younger, and it was because I didn't feel enough, and it was because I didn't feel worthy, and it was because I had limiting self-beliefs about money. And I don't do that anymore. My time is so precious. My time is so valuable. I can always make more money. I cannot create more time in my life. Once my heart stops beating and I take my last breath, that's it. That's it. Right? And I'm saying this not just for myself, I'm saying this for you out there. So we have to really see the red flags of the parasitical, vampirical people that don't support us, that will never support us. We need to start like just cutting them out and not feeling bad about it because they're dead weight and you're actually blocking more beautiful energy to come in because you have all these shitbags surrounding you. The other thing I want to say, and like I said, this is a very ranty podcast. There's not like numbers or whatever. The next thing I want to say is stop taking fucking advice from people that you would never swap lives with. Now, am I saying to you, everyone wants to live like my life. No, I'm not saying that. But I know a lot of people look at my life and they're like, wow, you got your shit together. You have a great husband. You have an incredible, affluent, abundant business. You're really happy. You're healthy. You're smart. You're articulate. You're all these things. I understand that. I have been groomed for this. I have worked my entire life to be this person and to speak the way I speak and to carry myself the way I am and have the boundaries and do all the things that I've did and have done and will do in the future. So I'm not like trying to be like that, but what I'm saying to you is so many people have opinions. Actually, everyone does. And they need to shut the fuck up because their opinions are 99.9% of the time wrong. But they give people unsolicited advice, and people that are nice, they take the advice thinking, oh, this person cares about me. They're telling me, this advice and blah, 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 blah. Dude, ask yourself, would I trade lives with this person that I'm getting the advice from? If it's a yes, maybe you should hire them as a coach. If it's a no, bye-bye. You don't have fucking time for that. Because here's the deal. Let's get real serious for a second. We want all these people to show up for us and we want all these people to support us, but these motherfuckers, they can't even wipe their own asses after they take a really hot diarrhea shit. Okay? After they have the crabapple splatters, they can't even wipe their own motherfucking asses, and we're asking them to support us and to show up for us the way that we show up for them. They don't have the capacity. We have to understand that not everyone is at our level. Most people in this world are simpletons and they're mediocre and they're dumber than a bag of dicks. And we have to understand that. They're not going to support you because they can't even support themselves, my friend, my ambitious one. Okay, so let that shit go. And we need to focus on the people. And this is going to be like real deal for a second, but we need to focus on the people who actually receive us like we receive them and vice versa, right? Because remember, you are the sum total of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So I want you to think about the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Is that amazing? Is that wonderful? Is that great? Or is that scary as hell, right? And remember, who gives a shit if no one else supports your biggest dreams, goals, and aspirations? Those dreams are not their dreams. They're your dreams. You have to support them. You have to believe in your own dreams. When you believe in your own dreams, the people will support you that are going to be the best for your highest, greatest good. Don't you understand that God goes in front of us and makes crooked places straight? What if Okay, I'll give you an example. I had a client who came to an event of mine, and I really liked her, but I didn't know her. I knew her from the outside. And then as I got to know her and I watched how she was showing up on social media, I was like, oh my God, this person is not my vibrational frequency. This person is actually a dark succubus. This person is actually dangerous for herself, for her family, for her children, for the people that she's teaching. And I had to totally step away and I had to just like block her because I was like, this is so negative. And I'm like, dude, it's okay to do that. I felt so bad at first. I was like, oh my God, Katie, you're such a fucking asshole. But then I'm like, no, because the thing is like, if she's out there talking about me and she's like, oh my God, this is my coach, which I wasn't. I don't even know where she got that from. She's like, this is my coach and she's my mentor and all this shit, which I never worked with her in that container capacity in my life. And then people that are listening to this are like, this is the girl that coached this fucking girl that's like a fucking deviant. What? And then all of a sudden I get lumped in with that same sum. I don't want anything to do with that. So maybe God knows more than you know. Maybe God is going in front of you and moving things out of your way to save you from embarrassment and besmirchment. And I really, truly feel like that's what happened with me. And she was supporting me and I was like, please don't talk about me. I am not your coach. I don't want to be lumped into any sum with you. So remember, who cares if people support your dreams or don't? They're your fucking dreams, right? And it's also not your job to prove your worth. You have to know that you're worthy. You know that old adage, like, I'll believe it when I see it? No, you have to believe it first and then you'll see it. Okay? People are like waiting for these parlor tricks, and people are waiting for like these magical things to happen to them, but they don't even believe in the first place that it could happen to them. So you're waiting in vain. Okay. You will see it when you believe it. It's not the other way around. And it's only your job, guys, out there in Ambitchious land, the ladies that are listening, it's your job to fulfill your life's purpose. No one else. So it's like, we want all these people to support us, but we don't even believe in ourselves. How can people believe in you? And how can you be a leader? And how can you be worthy of support and love and all these things if you don't even give that to yourself? That's why it's so important to do shadow work. That's why it's so important to have a coach that is going to speak victory into you and show you your shortcomings and not blow smoke up your ass. Because we're literally walking around right now in a world where everyone's just blowing fucking smoke up everybody's asses and everybody's just saying, oh, you're a special snowflake and you're so special. No, you're not. No, you're not fucking special. Okay? None of us are. It's all the same bullshit in a different fucking bucket. Right? My other question here, I guess, is why do we, and I do it too, why do we think that it's other people's jobs or other people's responsibilities to support and believe in us? It is not. And to feel that and to think that is very narcissistic, and it's very faulty, and it's very limiting, right? And if you're seeking other people's validation and other people's like high opinions of yourself, you're probably going to be fucked for the rest of your life, because half the time it's not real. Half the time it's not true. And again, not to beat a dead damn horse, but why don't you seek your own validation? Why don't you seek your own opinion? Why don't you listen to your own gut and your own intuitions? Why can't you own your own dreams? You have to embody it, right? You have to embody it. You know, I'm so sick of all these people in the coaching industry in this realm. They're all like, they talk a good game, they talk a big game, but they ain't shit. They've never done shit in their fucking lives. They've never made a penny coaching. They have no idea what the fuck that they're doing. Their house is not in order. How dare they coach anybody else? And everyone talks about it, but no one is about it. You know, you have to implement. And as you implement, and as you embody this energy, and as you just are, you're just in it, you're being it, the supporters will come. But guess what? So will the haters, and so will the keyboard warriors, and so will the judgmental fuckfaces. If I told you the shit that people have fucking said about me in my life, before it was like politically not correct to say, people would call me a fucking transvestite. They would say I was a man. They say I had a dick. They would call me a fat pig. They would call me a whore. They would call me everything in the fucking book. Okay. And guess what? I didn't give a fuck then, and I don't give a fuck now. I was built differently. I had to fuck my feelings. Because if I was all up in my feelings every time someone called me, oh, wow, her voice is really deep, she's a fucking tranny. They didn't realize that I got into a fucking car accident, and that's why my voice is like this in 2004. Okay? It didn't hurt me, because I knew that if I let these fucking losers that are living in their mother's basement on fucking food stamps, eating flaming hot Cheetos all fucking day, playing with their pussies and watching Maury Povich and being keyboard warriors, if I let those motherfuckers affect my life, I would be living in a van down by the river. So what I'm here to say to you out there in Ambitchious land is grow the fuck up, mature, fuck your feelings, and not everything is about you. Do what you're doing in your life for yourself. Fuck all the haters. Fuck all these other fucking people. And think about your number one self, because you came into this world by yourself and you're fucking going out by yourself. And I want to make sure that I suck the marrow out of my life. I want to make sure when I take my last breath that I am so fulfilled and I live such a full life that I have no fucking regrets. And I am 100% sure to say that a lot of you out there that are listening to this podcast will not have that experience, because you're so afraid about what everyone thinks about you. You're a little crybaby tits, and you want validation and you need everyone's support and everyone has to tell you that you're so fucking great. Well, guess what? You're not, obviously. Because when I look in the mirror at myself, I know like I'm a hard worker, I'm diligent, I'm tenacious, I will never take no for an answer, I'm a psychopath, I'm a sick fuck, I don't care about my feelings, I really just know that this is all a game. And when you know that this is all a game, it gives you radical responsibility and it puts the ball in your court and it gives you the ultimate freedom and the ultimate power. Because when you're relying on other people to fill up your cup, you're going to be a fucking broken down hoe. And a lot of us are broken down hoes. And you have to really make a switch in your mind that you will not react and you will not be a slave to if they will support you or if they won't support you. You just have to say, I'm creating this thing, I'm doing this thing, I'm going to the next level, I'm losing the weight, I'm finding the man of my dreams, I'm going to have spiritual connection, I'm going to make money, I'm going to be a rich bitch, and I don't care who cares and I don't care what they say. You have to really make that switch in your mind. And I did it a long time ago, and when I did, my whole life changed. I used to be the kind of person that if someone canceled their memberships, I would I would go into a deep, dark depression for like a month. I'd be like, what did I do wrong? Why don't they like me? Did I not give them enough? Blah, 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 blah. But the bottom line is, and you know how many people, okay, I'm going to tell you something right now. And I have attorneys and I have, a team. People owe me $250,000 right now at this very moment in unpaid membership fees because they would do something for 6 months and they couldn't get out of their own way and they blamed it on me that I wasn't giving them enough, which is not true. Because if anybody ever works with me, they know I give more than they pay 4 times 100. And I had to say to myself, these people are just losers and they'll never fucking make anything out of their lives. And if you sign a contract and you renegotiate on that contract, you are the biggest piece of shit walking the fucking planet. I wish that I could just tell people's names right now. There are so many famous people that you guys look up to and you guys see on the covers of magazines and you see girls dating very, very, very famous football players that owe me tens of thousands of dollars, that their dads have actually called me and called me a cunt on the phone. Yes, that's right. I said, see you next Tuesday. A grown man called my 27-year-old self a see you next Tuesday on the phone because I wouldn't let his daughter out of a contract that she signed. Okay? I used to go in deep, dark depressions for months over this shit. Now I'm like, oh, you don't fucking pay me? You're a fucking loser. You're trash and you'll never fucking amount to anything. Bye. Because when I sign a contract, I sign it in blood. I don't renege on my contracts. But 99.9% of the human population don't care about those things. Their word is not law. They have no ethics. They have no morals. They have no courage. They have no bravery. They're just worms in the world. They're fucking oxygen thieves, just breathing the air that all of us great people could be breathing. Yeah, I know this is harsh, but this is the Ambitchious podcast. It's not the blow smoke up your punani hole podcast, okay? I don't let that shit bother me anymore because it used to fucking take me out. And when I'm out, I'm a tool of the devil and I'm a tool of the matrix. And that's what the devil and that's what the matrix wants people like me to do. They want me to tap out and to give up. But I won't fucking ever give them that justice. I just won't. I don't give a fuck. Okay. The next reason why people won't support you. People won't support you because they're just too close to you. And they can't see your greatness. And they can't see the light inside of you. Because they know the old you. They know you when you used to poop in your diaper. Or when you threw up on that kid's shoe in 3rd grade. Or, when you had fucking tinsel teeth when you were 16 years old. They know you too much. They're too familiar. They're too familiar to you. You're too normal to them. Okay? Your ascension, your light, your greatness, your shine, your sparkle actually highlights their limitation. It highlights their dullness. It highlights their mediocrity and their drabness and their tones of gray. Okay? Not everyone on this earth was put on this earth to be great. I hate to say it. Come at me. I don't give a fuck. Some people were literally put on this earth just to be mediocre motherfuckers, and that is their life contract. And guess what? That's okay. But I'm not going to hang out with you, and you're not going to be in my circle, and I'm probably not going to coach you, and I probably will never, have a cocktail with you. And that's all right. Remember, normal people can't do great things. Only great people can do extraordinary things. And the reasons why strangers will support you is because just that. Because you're not normal. They can see your greatness. Maybe you helped them do something from afar and they're super grateful to you, right? And they can't see your greatness because they can't see the greatness in themselves, guys. They just can't. They think that greatness is out there somewhere and they don't see it right next to them. I mean, you could literally be sitting right next to them. And it's really difficult and it's really hard to break identities and perceptions and labels. So who you were is always who you will be. And this is really fucked up because this has happened to me before. So let me say this slowly. Who you were is always who you will be until that person that you are becomes the popular notion. So I'll give you an example. When I had my television show, Wicked Fit, I had so many people from my high school and so many people from middle school and so many people from like my past life reach out to me and they're like, I always knew you could do it. I always knew you were awesome. I always knew. And then they wanted to hang out with me and then they want to have drinks with me and they wanted me to come to their parties. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, because I have this television show, I'm all of a sudden cool. It's because it became a popular notion. Because before they were like, fuck her, she ain't great, she ain't shit, right? They always were trying to like put their foot out and trip me. They couldn't wait to see me fall down. They couldn't wait to see me fuck up. Right? They couldn't wait to see me living in a van down by the river, but I still haven't given them that fucking option to see it, and you never will fucking get to see it. I don't give a fuck. Come hell or high water, I don't give a shit what I have to do. I will never allow myself to go into that shit pit. So remember, you are who you always were until it becomes the popular idea. And something else to think about is in your life as an ambitious woman, and I've been really working on this, we must become more elusive. We have to become more silent. We have to move in silence and we have to become more mysterious. Because if we're talking to everybody and everyone knows our next move and everyone knows our business, that's a weapon and it's dangerous. I can't tell you how many times people have weaponized shit about me because I just shared. I'm an oversharer. It's a blessing and a curse because if I wasn't an overshare, I wouldn't be here being able to do this podcast. But at the same time, like too many people think that they know me and you don't know me at all. The people who know me, that you know who you are out there. And remember, strangers support you over the people that know you because strangers have no blocks on their vision of you. And people who are close to you will hold everything against you of who you were. Like sometimes, hi mom, if you're out there listening, when my mom and I get into fights sometimes, or we get into disagreements, sometimes my mother will say to me, well, if you were spiritual like you said you were, you wouldn't act like this. And I'll say to her, actually, no, it's the opposite. Because I'm spiritual, because I have boundaries, because I have this muscle that I've been honing and working and curating over the last 20 years, that's why I won't do this thing, because I am spiritual. And ask my mom, like I have not talked to her and I've like had to step away from her before. And I love my mother. She's my best friend, but I've had to step away from her because like that fucking shit is bullshit. And I know she's mad at me and she's trying to make me do something that she wants me to do. And I'm not available for those conversations because it's not true. You know, I think that we have to shake what a spiritual person looks like and acts like. Because the spiritual people that I hang out with, the people that I feel are the most evolved and ascended spiritually, are the toughest people on this planet. Because they've gone through hell already, like I have in my life. And they lived to tell of it, right? Here's another thing that I really think is funny. I when I was in the pageant industry, I would coach a lot of young girls, because I would coach a lot of teen pageant girls and preteen pageant girls and stuff. And it was funny because the moms would always say to me, I say the same thing to her, but she doesn't listen to me, but she listens to you. You could say the exact same thing to her and she'll listen to you over me. And you have to understand that support usually doesn't come from a familiar place, because familiarity breeds contempt. Like, what does my mother know? She's a fucking dumb bitch. But then my coach, because I don't live with her, she didn't push me out of her vagina. She didn't stay up with me and let me suckle her tits till I was 7 years old or whatever. It's a different vibrational frequency. And that's okay. That's okay. That's what coaches are for. That's what outside people are for. But in the end, the mom or whomever always gets their way, because usually the moms are right? It's just, my biggest thing, guys, is we have to stop really trying to manipulate people to support us, because you don't need them to be great. You just don't. And that's just the truth, right? We got to focus on our purpose. And when we focus on our life's purpose and we focus on our mission and we take radical responsibility for being the HBICs of our lives, God will put the right people in your life. They will put the right circumstances in your life. He will put everything in place for you, but you have to do the work. And it's all about your vision. Vision. Your vision is everything. It's everything. Because remember, guys, people fucking need you. They need you. They need what you're giving. They need what your passion is and your education and your smarts. Because, I was just teaching on the Ambitchious app how to find your life's purpose, because I think that one of the biggest things that are limiting the women I work with is they really don't know why they're here. And I can see their life's purpose for them, but they have to obviously adopt that, and they have to see their life's purpose, right? So on the next podcast, we're going to go really deep into life's purpose. We're going to kind of pontificate a little bit more on this podcast, because life purpose is a whole other can of worms. But I promise you that it will be such an amazing jump from this podcast, why people don't support you and why strangers actually do. And then we're going to get really deep into life purpose, because life, when you walk that walk, it can be very lonely. Believe me, I know. And remember, people are going to be jealous of you, and they're going to hate on you, and you're going to remind them of all what they're not. But when you elevation requires separation. Let me say that again. Elevation requires separation. So we're going to get really into the next level of this conversation on the next Ambitchious podcast. And we're going to talk all about life's purpose. And I'm going to blow your mind with some of the research that I've done on life's purpose. And I think it's going to just take you to the next level. But in the meantime, guys, you have to work on letting go of this notion that you need all these people to support you for you to fulfill your life's purpose and your mission and your dreams and your goals and your aspirations. Because I'm telling you right now, you are limiting the fuck out of yourself. And every day that you limit yourself in this life, you are just wasting your precious, precious human life. And I know a lot of people that are no longer here that would kill for just one more day on this earth to do the things that they didn't do when they were here. So let that shit go and take it from someone who's done really amazing, incredible things, and someone who still isn't even a quarter of the way as successful as she desires to be. But one thing I have over a lot of you out there in Ambitchious land is like, I don't give a fuck about this anymore. You don't support me. You don't support me. You do. Thank you. I will be you. I will do anything for you. I will fucking hype you up. I will love on you. I will thank you. I will be so grateful, but I don't also need it, which is a superpower. Okay. So like I said, join the 7-day app. Don't be a hoe. Share the show. Okay. And in the meantime, don't forget to stay ambitious. And I will see you next Tuesday.